time now for Truth or Fake, our fact-checking segment. Kathleen and Deborah is over by the big board. In this edition, a New York Times investigation sheds light on more evidence regarding the Gaza al-Ahli hospital blast. Kathleen, tell us more.
That's right, Mark. 1 week after the deadly blast that hit the al-Ahli hospital in Gaza, as Palestine and Israel continue pointing fingers at each other, and the majority of experts continue to remain unconclusive. As this military advisor says, there has never been such a lack of evidence for a weapon site ever. However, the New York Times just published this investigation where they examined key evidence in the Gaza hospital blast, bringing new elements into this investigation. They don't answer in any way who is responsible for the October 17th blast in the hospital. This article's main focus is this Al Jazeera live footage that was widely cited as a central piece to this investigation. Apparently, it's not so central after all. Let's take a quick look at this video again, where, just as a reminder to our viewers, this was live footage recorded from Al Jazeera at 6:59 p.m. Gaza time. What we see in the video suggests to show an outgoing projectile that then seems to be intercepted mid-air and detonates and explodes. And then you could see farther away a much larger explosion that is widely cited as being linked to that of the al-Ahli hospital, but that apparently has nothing to do with the Gaza hospital blast.
So what specific evidence does the New York Times cite in this investigation?
Well, Mark, the IDF says that the live footage that we just showed from the Al Jazeera live footage is evidence that a Palestinian rocket hit the hospital. In this tweet, they say, check your footage, the Al Jazeera footage, before you accuse Israel. And then they say that a rocket aimed at Israel misfired and exploded. And two, that what we see in the video is a hospital that was hit in Gaza. So this is the assertion that is contested by the New York Times in their investigations, since they say that according to their evidence, the missile that we see in the Al Jazeera video that we see here that detonates actually came from Israel, not from Gaza. So how did they come to this conclusion? They actually gathered a live footage from CCTV cameras from Tel Aviv, from Channel 12, and in the middle, the famous Al Jazeera footage right before the blast, where they point out sequence of events one by one. First, you can see Palestinian rocket barrage from northwest and southwest of the hospital. Then if we fast forward the video a little bit, you can see other explosions that take place southeast of the hospital. Then what matters to this investigation, this projectile launch from Israel, this is the one that we see in the famous Al Jazeera footage that later explodes and detonates in Gaza air. Then we see another explosion northeast of the hospital, and finally in this video at the end you'll see the explosion at the hospital. So what do all these images suggest? They suggest that overall, the minutes before the hospital blast, there were a series of missiles fired by both sides, by Israel and by Gaza, one of which is the one from the Al Jazeera footage. The one that New York Times asserts is from Israel, not Gaza. They also assert that this missile is unrelated to the Gaza hospital blast.
So how did the New York Times conclude that the missile from the Al Jazeera live footage is from Israel?
Indeed, they put a map together in this investigation that the New York Times claims is the approximate spot where the missile that we saw in the Al Jazeera footage video detonates. They conclude that the missile in the video, it was never even near the hospital, and hence cannot be what caused the explosion on the al-Ahli hospital, since it actually detonated close to the Israeli-Gaza border in this area right here that is at least 3.2 kilometers away from the al-Ahli hospital, hence contesting the IDF theory that what we see in this Al Jazeera footage is a missile from Gaza, and they conclude that this is an Israeli missile that exploded actually 3 kilometers away from the hospital, and hence an investigation that shouldn't be taken out of context as to say that Israel is responsible for the Gaza hospital blast, since the investigation does not address in any way who is responsible.
Catalina with Truth or Fake, thank you very much indeed.